The early life of Hamza Ibn Abdul Muttalib. Hamza Ibn Abdul Muttalib was born into the noble and respected Hashim clan of the Quraysh tribe in Mecca, around the year 568 CE. His father, Abdul Muttalib, was the chief of the Banu Hashim, a lineage that held a revered position in the Quraysh. His mother, Hala bint Quraysh, was also from a respected family, and her union with Abdul Muttalib strengthened the clan's position. From the moment of his birth, Hamza was marked by the nobility of his family and the respect that came with being part of the tribe of the Quraysh. Hamza's early years were spent in the lap of luxury, surrounded by the wealth and influence of the Quraysh. His father, Abdul Muttalib, was a wise and respected leader, known for his courage and devotion to the Kaaba, the sacred shrine of the Quraysh. His mother, Hala, was a woman of beauty and grace, and Hamza grew up in a household filled with love, discipline, and the values of the Quraysh. The customs of the Quraysh shaped his early life, teaching him the importance of honor, bravery, and respect for tradition. As a young child, Hamza formed a close bond with his cousin, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, who would later be known as the Prophet Muhammad. Muhammad had lost both of his parents at a very young age and was raised under the care of his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib. Hamza's bond with Muhammad was special, as Hamza was one of the few who took an interest in the young boy's well-being. They spent many years together, and Hamza, being a strong and protective figure, looked out for Muhammad, who was like a brother to him. Hamza's early life was also marked by his exceptional physical abilities. He was a skilled hunter and warrior, known for his strength and bravery. He was especially renowned for his expertise in archery and his prowess in hand-to-hand combat. As he grew older, Hamza became one of the most respected warriors in the Quraysh. His courage in battle and his sense of justice earned him the admiration of his people, and he quickly became a figure to be reckoned with. Despite the privileges of his position, Hamza was not immune to the harsh realities of the world around him. The Quraysh were a proud and ambitious people, and the competition for status and honor was fierce. Even though he was born into a noble family, Hamza had to prove his worth as a warrior and a leader. His journey was not one of ease, but rather one of self-discovery, shaped by the values of bravery, honor, and strength. As Hamza matured, he began to question the world around him. He saw the divisions within his society, the wealthy and powerful ruling over the poor and oppressed. He witnessed the corruption of the ruling elite and the way in which the weaker members of society were treated. Despite his own success and strength, Hamza began to feel that something was wrong with the world he inhabited. He longed for a sense of purpose that went beyond the battles and the quests for honor. Little did he know, his life was about to change in a way that would challenge everything he had known. The coming of a new message would open his heart and mind to a higher calling, one that would forever transform his path and his place in history. At this point, Hamza had not yet heard the message of Islam, nor had he embraced the teachings that would later become the foundation of his life. But he was a man of integrity, and his sense of justice would soon lead him to an encounter with the truth. His journey of self-discovery had only just begun, and the bonds of family and honor would soon guide him toward a destiny that no one could have predicted. This chapter of Hamza's life represents the beginnings of a man who would go on to become one of the most celebrated figures in Islamic history. His strength, loyalty, and sense of justice would be put to the ultimate test, and he would answer the call in a way that would earn him the title of the Lion of Allah. The path to Islam. As Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib entered adulthood, he became a warrior whose name was known across the land. His strength in battle was unmatched, and his loyalty to his people made him a figure of respect among the Quraysh. He was celebrated not only for his physical abilities, but also for his deep sense of honor and justice. However, despite his success and his revered position in society, a sense of emptiness began to gnaw at his heart. The world around him seemed full of contradictions. The powerful and rich were revered, while the poor and oppressed were ignored. Hamza began to question the meaning of life and his role in it. At this time, the young Muhammad was living a life of hardship. Orphaned at a young age, Muhammad had lost both of his parents and was raised by his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, and later by his uncle, Abu Talib. He had grown into a man of deep reflection and spirituality, known for his honesty and kindness. It was during this period that Muhammad began to receive revelations from Allah, says W.T., calling him to deliver the message of Islam. As the message of Islam began to spread in Mecca, it was met with resistance from the Quraysh leaders who saw it as a threat to their power and influence. They ridiculed Muhammad and those who followed him, calling them fools and heretics. Despite the mockery and persecution, Muhammad remained steadfast in his mission, unwavering in his belief that he had been chosen to deliver the truth. One day, as Hamza was returning from a hunting trip, he passed by the Kaaba, where a group of Quraysh leaders were mocking Muhammad. Among them was Abu Jahl, one of the staunchest opponents of Islam, who was known for his cruelty toward Muhammad. As Hamza overheard the insults and jeers being hurled at his cousin, something inside him snapped. His protective instincts for Muhammad, combined with his sense of justice, ignited a fire within him. Hamza approached the group of Quraysh leaders, his steps firm and determined. Abu Jahl, noticing Hamza's approach, turned to and mocked him as well. In a moment of anger and righteous indignation, Hamza struck Abu Jahl with his bow, knocking him to the ground. The action was swift, and the message was clear. Hamza had joined the ranks of those who would defend Muhammad and his message. The act of striking Abu Jahl was not just a personal defense of Muhammad, but a powerful statement of loyalty to the truth. The Quraysh leaders were stunned, and word of Hamza's actions spread quickly throughout Mecca. It was in that moment that Hamza made a profound decision. He would embrace Islam and defend the message of Muhammad with all his strength. This moment marked a turning point in Hamza's life. He had gone from being a respected warrior, loyal to the Quraysh, to becoming one of the greatest supporters of Islam. His conversion was not just a personal transformation, but a public declaration that the message of Islam was true and that he was willing to fight for it. His strength in battle, combined with his newfound faith, made him a formidable force in the defense of the early Muslim community. Hamza's conversion to Islam was a significant moment in the early days of the Prophet Muhammad's mission. It gave hope to the Muslim community and sent a clear message to the Quraysh leaders that they could not silence the truth through ridicule or violence. Hamza's strength and courage were now aligned with the message of Islam, and he would go on to play a crucial role in its defense. After embracing Islam, Hamza's life took on a new purpose. He stood by the Prophet Muhammad through every challenge, supporting him with unwavering loyalty. He became known as the Lion of Allah, a title that reflected his bravery in battle and his deep commitment to the cause of Islam. His strength, both physical and spiritual, made him a symbol of the power of faith and the willingness to stand up for what was right, no matter the cost. Hamza's conversion also had a profound impact on the early Muslim community. His support gave the Muslims a sense of security and strength that they had not had before. They knew that with Hamza by their side, they had a warrior who would protect them and their faith. His presence inspired many others to embrace Islam, and his actions played a crucial role in the spread of the new faith in Mecca. As the persecution of the Muslims intensified, Hamza stood firm, never wavering in his loyalty to the Prophet Muhammad and the message of Islam. He faced numerous challenges, including physical attacks and verbal insults, but he remained resolute in his belief. His courage in the face of adversity made him a hero among the Muslims, and his unwavering faith became an example for others to follow. The battles and the ultimate sacrifice, the rise of Islam in Mecca, brought with it a wave of opposition and hostility from the Quraysh. The powerful leaders of the tribe saw the growing influence of Muhammad and his followers as a threat to their authority and way of life. As the persecution of the Muslims escalated, Hamza stood as a pillar of strength and resolve. His reputation as a fearless warrior and his unwavering loyalty to the Prophet Muhammad made him one of the most prominent defenders of Islam. Hamza's role in the early battles of Islam was crucial. One of the first major confrontations between the Muslims and the Quraysh took place at the Battle of Badr, a defining moment in the history of Islam. It was here that Hamza's bravery would shine brighter than ever before. The Quraysh had gathered an army of over 1,000 men to crush the growing Muslim community. The odds were heavily stacked against the Muslims, who numbered only 300 or so. Despite being outnumbered, the Muslims were resolute in their faith and determined to stand up for their beliefs. Hamza, along with his fellow warriors, prepared for the battle that would determine the fate of Islam. His strength and experience made him a natural leader on the battlefield. He was known for his prowess with the sword and his fearlessness in combat. As the battle raged, Hamza's courage and skill became a beacon of hope for the Muslim army. He fought with unwavering determination, cutting through the ranks of the Quraysh as if he were unstoppable. During the battle, Hamza's courage became legendary. He faced some of the fiercest warriors of the Quraysh, including a man named Shayba ibn Rabi'a, who was a towering figure on the enemy side. Their duel was fierce, but Hamza's skill and strength prevailed, and he struck down Shayba in one swift blow. His victory over such a prominent opponent was a clear sign that Islam would not be defeated. No matter the strength of its adversaries, the Battle of Badr ended in a decisive victory for the Muslims. The Quraysh were forced to retreat, and many of their leaders were killed or captured. Among those who perished in the battle was the infamous Abu Jahl, one of the most vocal opponents of Islam. His death marked the beginning of the decline of the Quraysh's power over the region. The victory at Badr was not just a military success, but a moral victory for the Muslims, a sign that the truth of Islam could not be suppressed by the forces of oppression. In the wake of the victory, Hamza's reputation as a fearless warrior and defender of Islam grew even further. His actions at Badr cemented his place as one of the key figures in the early Muslim community. His bravery and leadership inspired others to join the cause of Islam, and his example became a source of strength for the Muslims who faced persecution and hardship. However, the peace that followed the victory at Badr was short-lived. The Quraysh were furious at their defeat and vowed to avenge the loss. They gathered another army and set their sights on the Muslims once again. This time, the confrontation would take place at the Battle of Uhud, a battle that would prove to be one of the most challenging and tragic moments in Hamza's life. The Muslims prepared for the Battle of Uhud, knowing that the Quraysh were determined to take revenge. Hamza, as always, was ready to face the enemy head-on. He fought with the same intensity and courage as he had at Badr, leading the charge with his sword raised high. However, the course of the battle soon took a tragic turn. The Muslims, who had initially gained the upper hand, were forced to regroup after a critical mistake by a group of archers who abandoned their posts on the hilltop. In the chaos that followed, the Quraysh launched a counterattack, and Hamza found himself in the thick of the fighting. He fought bravely, cutting down enemy after enemy. However, in the midst of the battle, he was struck down by an enemy warrior named Washi ibn Harb, an expert in spear throwing. Washi had been hired by Hind bin Utbah, the wife of Abu Sufyan, to kill Hamza in revenge for her own family's losses at Badr. As Hamza fell to the ground, his final moments were filled with the knowledge that he had fought valiantly for the cause of Islam. His sacrifice at Uhud was a testament to his unwavering commitment to the Prophet Muhammad, and the message of Islam. The loss of Hamza was felt deeply by the Muslims, especially by Muhammad, who had lost not just an ally but a beloved family member and a close friend. Hamza's death at Uhud marked the end of an era for the early Muslims. He had been one of their strongest warriors, a symbol of courage and faith. Yet his legacy lived on in the hearts and minds of the Muslim community. His sacrifice became a rallying cry for those who continued to fight for the cause of Islam. The title Lion of Allah would forever be associated with Hamza, a man whose strength, loyalty, and faith had left an indelible mark on history. The loss of Hamza at Uhud was a tragedy, but it also served as a reminder to the Muslims of the price of faith and the cost of standing up for what is right. His sacrifice was not in vain, for it inspired generations of Muslims to follow in his footsteps and to carry on the fight for justice and truth, no matter the cost. The legacy of Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib. The death of Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib in the Battle of Uhud was not just a personal loss for the Prophet Muhammad and the Muslim community, but a moment that would forever shape the history of Islam. Hamza was not merely a warrior. He was a symbol of strength, courage, and loyalty to the cause of truth. His life and his sacrifice became a beacon of inspiration for all those who followed the path of Islam, and his legacy would endure through the centuries. When news of Hamza's death reached the Prophet Muhammad, it is said that the Prophet wept deeply. Hamza was not just his uncle, but his protector and confidant. He had stood by Muhammad through the early days of Islam, defending him against the attacks of the Quraysh and standing firm in the face of adversity. The loss of Hamza was a wound that could never truly heal for the Prophet, but it also became a source of motivation for him to continue his mission. Despite the immense grief that Muhammad felt, he found solace in the knowledge that Hamza had given his life for the cause of Allah. Hamza's martyrdom was a testament to the depth of his faith and his unwavering commitment to the truth. His sacrifice was a reminder to the Muslims of the high price of standing firm in the face of oppression and injustice. After the Battle of Uhud, the Muslims held Hamza's memory close to their hearts. His bravery and sacrifice became an example for all who followed in his footsteps. The title of Lion of Allah was not just a label. It was a recognition of the immense courage and strength that Hamza had shown in both life and death. His legacy lived on in the stories of his heroism, his loyalty, and his unwavering belief in the message of Islam. Hamza's death also had a profound impact on the early Muslim community. It served as a turning point for the Muslims, showing them that the struggle for Islam was not without its sacrifices. They were reminded that to uphold the truth, one had to be willing to face hardship, to endure pain, and sometimes to give up everything for the sake of Allah. Hamza's life was a testament to these values, and his death reinforced the importance of sacrifice in the pursuit of righteousness. The impact of Hamza's martyrdom was felt far and wide. His story became a source of inspiration not only for the early Muslims in Mecca and Medina, but for generations of believers who would come after him. His name would be remembered in the annals of history as one of the greatest martyrs in the cause of Islam. The Muslims, though heartbroken by his loss, found strength in the memory of Hamza's sacrifice, and his legacy continued to inspire them. In their own struggles. As the years passed, the Muslims continued to spread the message of Islam across the Arabian Peninsula and beyond. In every battle, in every struggle, Hamza's name was invoked as a symbol of courage, honor, and sacrifice. His legacy was not just in the battles he fought, but in the way he had lived his life. His unwavering faith, his loyalty to the Prophet, and his commitment to justice became ideals that all Muslims aspired to. Throughout Islamic history, Hamza has remained an iconic figure. He is remembered not just for his strength in battle, but for the depth of his character, his love for the Prophet Muhammad, his unwavering faith in the message of Islam, and his willingness to sacrifice everything for the cause of truth continue to inspire Muslims to this day. His life was a model of devotion, integrity, and strength, and his legacy is one that will never fade. In the years following his death, Hamza's memory was honored by the Muslim community. His martyrdom at Uhud was commemorated in various ways, and his story was passed down through generations. The Lion of Allah was not only a title but a reminder to Muslims of the strength they could find in faith and the courage they could summon in the face of adversity. The Prophet, Muhammad, in his own way, continued to honor Hamza throughout his life. He often spoke of Hamza's bravery and his noble sacrifice, reminding his followers of the importance of standing firm in their faith, no matter the trials they faced. The legacy of Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib is woven into the very fabric of Islamic history, and his name is synonymous with courage, honor, and sacrifice. Even after his death, the Muslims continued to uphold the values that Hamza had embodied throughout his life. They understood that his sacrifice was not in vain, and that the struggle for Islam was a struggle worth enduring. The story of Hamza continues to be a source of inspiration for Muslims around the world, reminding them of the power of faith, the importance of loyalty to the truth, and the strength found in standing up for what is right. The end.